The rest of the story. The invasion was precisely on schedule. You could have set your watch by progress of the landing ship tanks as they approached the long sandy beaches, and then suddenly from the icy depths of the English Channel, all hell broke loose. It began with a subsurface explosion at the hull of one of the LSTs, a torpedo blast, but from where? British naval and air defenses were supposed to be standing rear guard. That was the deal. The invasion would fail if German torpedo boats began closing in from the open channel, but incredibly they were there, lurking somewhere in the watery gloom. Commanders got on their radios. What had gone wrong, they demanded. Another crippling blast to an LST. No doubt about it now. A pack of U-boats had glided past the Allies' rear guard and was moving in for the kill. Aboard the Allied landing vessels, panic. Such fear and confusion that within minutes some of the LSTs were actually firing on one another. Two of the ships were sinking now. Two more, with deep damage, are floundering. Standing on the forward deck of one of those dying vessels was naval gunner Ralph Bartholomew. Stunned and helpless, he watched the blue tracer shells exploding all around him. He felt the pulse of the air, shocked by machine gun fire. The LST was going under. There was nothing left to do now but abandon ship and swim for his life. The water was cold. The waves were menacing. The sandy shore seemed impossibly far. More explosions, more screams. In places, the channel itself had become an ocean of oil-fed flame into which terrified troops plunged nonetheless. Ralph Bartholomew swam on. And then, inexplicably at first, the water in Ralph's path became clotted with lumps of fabric. Long moments passed as he struggled to swim through them, pondering what they were. And then he realized it was clothing, uniforms, and bodies inside uniforms, hundreds of them, as though the English Channel had become, in a lightning flash, a sea of the dead, 50 years ago, 1944. Yet what you were never told of that Allied invasion half a century ago is that it failed. Failed outright and unequivocally. Through the ensuing hours, the boys died in a steady stream. The channel swallowed many of them whole, others in pieces. 3,000 Allied troops, hastily evacuated, managed to get out with their lives. The rest, some 750 of them, were fished from the gray water by rescue craft and brought to shore and piled high. Some called it the most wretched sight of the war. None who lived to tell told with a steady voice. For the military invasion that you have just relived was not the Normandy invasion, now and forever known as D-Day. It was another invasion, one of which you were never told until now. One that took place some 5 weeks prior, on April 28, 1944, on the long beaches of Devon in southwest England. And yet if any triumph may be imagined amidst that tragedy, in which 4 times more soldiers died than on Utah Beach, it would be that we at least learned how not to do it when it counted. We learned from the awful night German torpedo boats slipped past the Allies and opened fire on a massive training maneuver codenamed Exercise Tiger, when D-Day's dress rehearsal ended in a bloody defeat for us. Now you know the rest of the story.